The Columbus Blue Jackets, a team in the midst of a rebuild, but somehow, despite facing plenty of adversity, they find themselves clawing their way back into a playoff spot. At the time of this recording, the Blue Jackets are 26-20-7, 6-3-1 in their last 10 games, and quite frankly, playing some amazing hockey as of late. So what gives? If expectations were so low to begin the year, and NHL-ready talent was slim on this roster, then how have they become one of the more competitive teams within their division? Well, it's a combination of things, and today, I'm going to break down exactly what has helped Columbus separate themselves from other rebuilding franchises in the span of just a few months, and why every hockey fan is rooting for this team to succeed. The Columbus Blue Jackets are easily the best story of the season. After the tragic and sudden passing of Johnny Gaudreau, this team not only lost their best player, but also lost Patrick Laine via a trade to Montreal, flipping this entire roster upside down within a couple of weeks. So with their roster deficiencies, it felt like you could just write Columbus off as one of the worst teams that would likely finish at the bottom of the league. But somehow, some way, despite these deficiencies, they have put up a respectable record and become a legitimate team competing for a wildcard spot. So let's break down why the Columbus Blue Jackets are having success and a few key players who you should be keeping an eye on for postseason hockey if they can somehow make it in the end. But before we get into all of this, we are so close to 20,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you guys want to watch more stuff like this and support me, go ahead and hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's talk Blue Jackets hockey. Let's begin by talking about someone who I believe should be top 3 in Hart Trophy rankings right now, and that's Zach Werenski. The resurgence of Werenski has been nothing short of phenomenal. He's anchoring the team's blue line by providing them with a sturdy defensive presence, while also simultaneously contributing offensively. His leadership and skill have completely revitalized this team's back end, adding another dimension to their once bottom of the league defense. Werenski's return to form after injury concerns in previous seasons has been instrumental in solidifying the Jackets' unexpected success this year. At the time of this recording, he's a plus 10 on the year, has 57 points with 17 goals in 53 games played, leading the team in nearly every category outside of goals, which goes to another guy who we're going to talk about in just a moment. Zach was also named to the Four Nations Face-Off roster for Team USA, and will likely play some significant minutes during that tournament, which is well deserved. I think quietly Zach Werenski has been one of the top defensemen in the NHL, but with his injuries and some unexpected adversity, he's quietly gone unnoticed, but that will happen no longer. Along with Zach Werenski, there is an unexpected player who I sort of alluded to a few moments ago on this team, who is having a breakout year, and that's Kirill Marchenko. Marchenko has been a nice prospect for the Blue Jackets, and over his first 2 seasons, showcased some skill, having 25 points in his first year, and this past season having 43. But this year, he has just been an all-around stud for the Jackets, and a large reason for their ability to keep up with other teams' scoring. This season, he already has surpassed his career-high 43 points with 55 in 53 games played, with 21 of those being goals. He also has been an underrated two-way player this year and leads the team with a plus 31. There's also a bit of tough news for this player though. The other night he suffered a broken jaw, which hasn't come out with a timeline for how long he will be out for, but if it needs to be wired, then he will likely miss about 6 to 8 weeks in order to recover. And speaking of injuries, Columbus has not been a stranger to this, unfortunately. Boone Jenner is out until at least after the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, and their other top player, Sean Monahan, will also be out until at least March. So I think it's safe to say that if there was one thing not going right for the Blue Jackets, then this would be the biggest thing. Now, one other player that I truly enjoy watching is Adam Fantilli, and while he isn't blowing up the box score, 31 points, 16 goals, and just having a season where Columbus is playing successful hockey, I think is going to be huge for his development and the development of other young players. You don't want to be stuck in a system where you're never winning hockey games and you're never playing postseason hockey either. So hopefully if they can make the postseason, this will be great for his development and continue pushing Columbus towards their ultimate goal. But now that we're done with all of the positives, let's talk about a few negatives surrounding this team and what could potentially keep them from actually making one of those final wildcard spots. To start, goaltending needs to be a lot better. The Jackets currently sit 26th in the league in terms of goals against average and 30th in save percentage. This is not sustainable in any way, and for a team looking to make the playoffs, Elvis Merzlikins just has to be better. Now, since signing his contract and requesting a trade, it's been a bit of an up and down story for Merzlikins. At times, he looks like he could be a legitimate starter, but his inconsistencies ultimately has hurt this team. Now, to be fair, it hasn't all been his fault. Outside of this year with Werenski finally coming back to true form, the Blue Jackets' blue line has been just awful. And based on the past numbers, you can't just say that goaltending is the true reason for all of this team's struggles. But regardless, as a player who is a starter making this much money in the league, there are games that you're going to have to steal for this team. And with them being so tight within this wildcard race, it's going to be important for Merzlikins to stay consistent in order for them to achieve their goal. Now, again, it's kind of a difficult contract to move off of, so Columbus is kind of stuck with it after paying him a substantial deal when he first started to show some potential. And I do believe in Merzlikins and his talent, but this is going to be a bad thing for the Jackets moving forward if they, one, can't help him find his confidence again, or two, put an even more solid blue line around him until this contract is something that they can either move off from or buy out / finish up with the term ending at some point. A few other housekeeping things that I would like to see the Blue Jackets improve on. Right now, they rank 26th in the league with their penalty kill at 74.7%, and their power play is about average with a success rate of 21.5%. So if you're going to compete with some of these other wildcard teams, it will be nice to see them improve with their power play and penalty kill. But like I said, you can't really harp on this too much because this team has been so injured for about a few weeks now. And before we get into the final moments of this video, let's try to end it off on a positive thing, because I do think there's one aspect of this team that's often overlooked, and that's the head coach of this team, Dean Evason. His coaching has been exceptional this year, and I feel like he should be in the conversations to win the Jack Adams this year. Outside of maybe Carberry from the Washington Capitals, I don't know if there's anyone else out there who's been better. He's instilled a winning mentality in this young squad, has fostered a culture of teamwork and competitiveness, and has adapted his strategies to maximize the strengths of each player. He's consistently been outsmarting his opponents too, and honestly is the main reason for this improbable turnaround. It's just something that I thought I would bring up because I do feel like with the coaching carousel that has been around in Columbus for the past couple of years, this is definitely a nice thing for the team to finally have some consistency with. But here we are with the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're about just over halfway in the regular season around the trade deadline, and this team is still in the playoff hunt, something that has honestly surprised a lot of us. This is a team that was written off before the puck even dropped, a team battling through adversity and doubt, and now they are on the cusp of something truly special. A playoff berth wouldn't just be a victory for this team, it would honestly be a validation to their resilience. There's no other team out there who has battled through more, not just this offseason, but to start the year. And I think that this story of redemption would be so wholesome for every hockey fan. And like I said to start the video, I think we're all quietly or just honestly loudly rooting for this team to make the playoffs this year, regardless of the teams that are mixed up with them in the wild card. So hey, you never know. If injuries start to get a little bit better and this team can keep playing consistent hockey, we could likely see the Blue Jackets facing off come playoff time. But this is my full breakdown of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like I said, it's one of the better feel-good stories of the year, and I, like many other hockey fans, are all rooting for Columbus to make the playoffs this year because it would be so exciting for that franchise. But I want to hear from you guys first. Do you think that Columbus has enough to make the playoffs this year? Do you think that they should be buyers at the deadline, sellers at the deadline, or should they just keep their current team? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next episode.